Now, he is the clubhouse sensation. He is the premier candidate in U.S. State Senate District 52. And I know that because his website is tom452.com. That is TOMFOR52.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Queter.
So I'm Thomas Daniel Quater, if you didn't know. Anybody here not know that? Yeah, I didn't think so. The title of my talk today is Libertarian Legacy. Why? Why do I want a libertarian legacy? Why should you want a libertarian legacy? Why should our culture want a libertarian legacy? For one, I'm going to tell you we already have it. We already have it. I'm pretty sure everybody's aware of the original revolution, 1776. That was very libertarian. That is a legacy that most Americans hold on to one way or another. But there's more to it. I want to leave this world knowing that my community and the people around me know that I care. Know that I care about their bills, their property taxes, their health concerns, their concerns with welfare in the state, their concerns with war on drugs, their concerns with everything the government does that oppresses our lives. I want to leave this world knowing that people know that I fought against that one way or another. Now, I can do that on an individual basis, as I was before the Libertarian Party. I can advocate. I can help people. I can crowdfund on a one-on-one basis. That's nice. It helps. It's very enduring. Every individual matters. That is a fact. I still do that. But why am I in politics? And why am I trying to leave that legacy? It's an uphill battle. We know this. We're libertarians. It's hard. It's not easy in our party. We don't have that machine. If I, from my perspective, from my life status, can run for state senate, then everybody else can run for local office. Everybody else can follow their passion. Everybody else can leave their own libertarian legacy. And I think most of us do, whether we know it or not. I would bet there are Democrats and Republicans and unregistered and independently registered and other third parties who are leaving a libertarian legacy without knowing it right now. Every time you help your neighbor, every time you buy that chicken at the Firehouse Barbecue, that is a voluntary action. You're choosing where your money goes. That is libertarian. Every time you serve yourself by seeking your own career, your own business, your own property, that is libertarian. And that leaves a legacy in the end. Because you're a person who's known and seen in your community, and people recognize what you're doing. One of the problems we have, though, is that we do so many libertarian things without saying it's libertarian. So the next time you go to a chicken barbecue for the Firehouse, you buy your chicken, go to the line, check out, shake the guy's hand, you say, I support you. I'm a libertarian. The more we do this, the more we get every libertarian doing that, the more we will improve our image and our message. People will understand that what we want is not what they think we want. I had a Democrat state committee member accuse me of wanting the poor and disabled to die. Think about that. I had a Democratic state committee member accuse me at a political meeting with a single-purpose issue group of wanting the poor and disabled to die. I think it's pretty obvious that I'm disabled. But I tell you what, I grew up in a house that didn't have insulation. When I was 5 years old, I shot gray squirrel, and that was dinner. I do not want the poor and disabled to die. Does anybody here want the poor and disabled to die? Raise your hands, anybody? Oh, come on, Rob, really? None of us want that. So, why did they think that? Why did they think that libertarians want the poor and disabled to die? Well, because we hate welfare. And they don't understand why we hate welfare. We hate government support initiatives. And why do we hate them? Because they're inefficient. They don't help. They take too much, don't give enough back. I'm in that situation. Everybody that I have been counseling regarding their disabilities, crowdfunding for regarding their needs for disabilities, that is a direct message from the government that we're only going to say we're going to help you, and we're going to leave you to rot in a dark corner where you can't be seen and you can't be heard. We don't want people to know what you're going through because we're causing it. We want to ensure that you're not out in the world and that you don't have this message and that you don't think you deserve more. But everybody deserves more. And how do we get more? I think the obvious answer as libertarians is obviously stop letting the government take it. The more they take, the less we have. That's how we get more. We get more by rolling it back. We get more by lowering taxation. We get more by direct assistance. We get more by doing the things that we preach constantly. We are always saying crowdfunding. We are always doing crowdfunding. But are we always saying, I'm a libertarian and I'm helping someone? Are we letting people know what we're doing? Do they really get that message? So if you leave my discussion today with one thing, remember, every single time you do something that anybody would see as good, remind them, you're a libertarian. You support them. You support their needs. You support their cause. You agree with their base philosophy of whatever it is, keeping the fire department going, helping Russell Jordan have an accessible home. My buddy Jim Dayton here is helping me with that. Right now, we're trying to fundraise for a veteran who lost a leg, not due to combat, but he can't even use his own home. There's no welfare for that. There's no state program for that. There might be small things here and there, but most of them are exceptionally expensive. And most of you know the story of my wheelchair. Does anybody here not know how I got this wheelchair I'm sitting in today?
I don't.
You don't know? Okay. I went to the systems that be and applied for the same wheelchair I'd had 5 times before. I'd had it 5 times before. Same exact make, same model, same company, same everything. And they said, no, Tom, you can't have what works for you. You have to choose from this range of wheelchairs. And knowing my own disability better than anybody else, as my own doctors tell me, those chairs would have injured me and put me to the bed. That's a long, slow end. And I'm trying not to make this all about disabilities, but I want to ask, does anybody here have a moment in the last month that they can think of where they did something that was libertarian and was good and yet failed to tell people they were a libertarian when they did it? Raise your hand. Right? Yeah, we all pretty much do that too much, right? We need to start letting people know we're libertarians. Politics has to come back to the dinner table. I'm sorry, but it does. It has to come back in a way that is level-headed. It has to come back in a way that is not full of vitriol. We see anger, we see two-sidedness in the duopoly, we see this in our government, and we see that it gets no traction. They do the same things over and over. We need a different message. We need the message that tells people you can do it. You can help somebody. You can help yourself. You can build a business. You can build a ramp. And stop expecting the government to do it. Now, I do believe I heard the infamous shameless plug mentioned in the last presentation. Go to tomfor52.com, TOMFOR52.com. Consider a donation. Can you tell I've learned how to ask for money? That is one thing you have to do as candidates, learn how to ask for money. To that note, we do have merchandise, but why would you want to leave a libertarian legacy? Is there a different legacy you'd want to leave? Does anybody want to leave a legacy that's not libertarian? Right. And why? Why, right? because you care about somebody. There's somebody you care about, whether it's yourself, your family, your neighbors, your town, your state, or your county. We're here because we care. Is anybody here because they don't care about somebody? Right. Libertarians care. And we need to lead with that. We really do. We need positive messaging. We need caring messaging. And when you're running for office and you're talking to your constituents, you need to make sure that you're caring about them. And I'll tell you what, this isn't just for candidates. This is for anybody in an affiliate doing outreach, anybody doing door knocking, anybody handing out literature. The minute you care about somebody else, Andrew, I care about you. I care about what's wrong. I care about your struggles in life. The minute I do that, he cares about me. And he cares about me and finds out I'm a libertarian. And then all of a sudden he's interested in libertarianism and he cares about it. We need to hammer that home. That needs to be in everything we do. Okay? We can be angry on the internet all we want. That's not going to do it. We can be angry at the duopoly all we want. That's not going to do it. Not in New York, especially not in New York. What we need to do is approach people with a stance of caring and a stance that is exceptional. Exceptional. Have your ducks in a row. Know what you're talking about. And ensure that you're not being insensitive to whoever you're talking to. Because you don't know who you're going to run into. You don't know the problems you're going to run into as you're out in your constituency or in the field if you're an affiliate. What you do know is that everybody has problems. And most of them, the government has a hand in. What you can do is show that empathy. What you can do is leave the libertarian legacy of someone that cares and has sense. Someone who both has compassion and a calculator. Numbers matter, and numbers are caring, and the Libertarian Party, to me, brings that together for both. We are the people who can budget compassion. We can do more with less, right? We hear this all the time. I'm literally spewing back to you everything everybody always says, but it's true. Lead with empathy, and you know, as Spike Cohen always tells us, and actually Karen Thompson said last night, meet people where they're at. Understand what their problems are and be willing to listen to them, but ultimately leave that libertarian legacy, leave that legacy of someone who cares. As someone who is trying to do that, I will tell you it is not easy. I got death threats last cycle. I have people who are still angry at me because I ran for office, right? That's what happens. I don't care. I'm leaving a legacy of caring. I am meeting people individually and understanding their problems and letting them walk away knowing that a libertarian cares about their issues. I don't have a clock in front of me, so I'm going to open it up. If anybody's got questions, now's the time. Can you come closer, please? I can't hear you.
What areas of the state does the 52 district represent?
Okay, so currently it represents half of Shenango County, all of Broome County, all of Tioga County, and a little part of Delaware County. But that's going to change in January because it was a census year, the redistricting, and the two maps look vastly different. So we will.
We don't know what the change is going to be quite yet.
January. They'll come out with that in January if we're lucky.
So South Shenango, all of Broome, and then West Delaware?
That's the current.
Okay.
The new maps are vastly different. There's two proposals out there. But I hate to brag, and it's not for my credit, I didn't do this, but I am happy that my own county now is not split between 4 different districts. That's the easiest way to tell a county, we don't care about you.
And does New York State have the American with Disabilities Act state law? And can you explain your interaction with that law or your opinions on it?
So we're back to libertarian legacy again. The ADA is garbage. It's garbage. I was just in Florida in August. I broke all of the ribs on my right side trying to use an ADA accessible bathroom. It met the code, but I couldn't use it. So, and I run into this everywhere. In fact, I was worried about running into it here. I didn't see the hotel room before I came. Thankfully, the hotel room here was very accessible. But the ADA doesn't work because it takes what's necessary, call it a ramp, right? You need a ramp. If you need a ramp, it's now government control. Government stipulates what you need and how you need it. In this city, Syracuse, right now, it is mandated, it is required that a ramp be either metal or concrete. Metal ramps are cheap and dangerous. Concrete ramps are extremely expensive. And if you're going to put one of those in, you need an approved contractor. So now someone in SSI who needs a $300 wooden ramp, it has to pay $3,000 to $7,000 to enter their own home because they suddenly became disabled or met with aging-related problems. That's insane. Why would a government do that? It doesn't make sense to me. Do you know why? Nobody I've ever talked to knows why. So, the ADA to me is garbage. And I have some personal experiences from that. Granted, I didn't grow up in a big city like Syracuse. I grew up in a hamlet of a small town. So, smaller than a small town. And we had the Mount Upton Market. When I was a kid, Leonard ran it. I remember Leonard. My mom worked there for a time as a cashier. But he put in a ramp. It was removable. But he put in a ramp because he knew who I was. He put in a ramp because I had that kind of mentality. My disability at that age, most people would think that I should stay in a room and never come out, or that I should be protected and coddled. My parents learned quickly that wasn't going to work with me. I did run away from home before I got my first wheelchair, and I have never actually taken a step. So, what does that tell us? That tells us that when people know what's going on, they do the right thing. This guy made his store accessible because he knew who I was. That was it. And now we have systems that actually keep people in situations like mine from being known in their communities. Most of us are not coming out of the house. Many of us are stuck in institutions. The ones we do see are lucky, very lucky. They have a family that supports them. They have means of some degree, and they have the ability to get out and around. And we do have some programs that do this. However, they're arguably expensive. Now, I was at the farmer's market earlier today. Syracuse has my favorite farmer's market, the regional market. And doing the candidate thing while I shop, right? I mean, it's local farmers from people who are likely to be in my district. I'm going to talk to them. And this guy's real hot on disabilities issues because he's a disabilities advocate, despite someone who sells cheese at a farmer's market. And his issue, this is a kicker. Does everybody here know what a disabilities aid is? Or assistant, or personal assistance, depending on what realm of government you're talking about. That is someone who comes to your home and helps you with the things that you can't do. That's everything from sweeping the floor to wiping your backside. A lot of it is hospice care. It's not fun. It's not a fun job. You watch people die. You watch people rot to death. You watch people go through all of the medical horrors that we all know does eventually come for all of us. We live long enough. Do you know what these people get paid for getting to know someone that they didn't have to watch die, and for taking care of all of the unmentionable things that we don't like to think about? Do you know what they get paid for that by the state? $12.50 an hour. Right? What do you make at Burger King right now? Anybody? Starting. Now, does that even make sense? So, the government is providing a poor service, not a quality service. There is a certain realm of abuse in this service. The wrong kinds of people end up getting that job because they can't even get a job at Burger King. If you can't get a job at Burger King because you're addicted to meth, go be a personal assistant. The government will pay you. which I don't believe meth should be illegal to qualify. I'm a libertarian. I don't like meth, but I don't want it to be illegal. That's because I counsel addicts. Making things illegal and punishing people just doesn't work. We all know this. But a libertarian legacy, let's come back to that. How does that end up a libertarian legacy? Well, I have a personal assistant. I do. I went through several before I landed on this one because bad things happen in that realm. My current personal assistant is an addict, a severe addict. An addict who was also on the spectrum. He became an addict because he was ostracized from society. People didn't accept him, and he went where it was easy. I gave him a chance. Now, instead of being an addict, he holds a 40-hour-a-week job, and he holds it perfectly. He's the best aide I've ever had. He's extremely dedicated. If the 40 hours are up and he's clocking out, because it's a phone system that he clocks out through, he clocks out on his hours, and if he sees something that needs to be done, takes an hour or two, I can't stop him. He just wants to help. Somebody gave him a chance, and it's a chance, something that makes him feel good. He knows his job is necessary. It's not flipping burgers. So as much as I stated that it can be a problem because it lets in the people that maybe we don't want in carrying positions, at the same time it can be a solution if it's handled right. And that's up to me. As a libertarian, I was able to make that choice. I was able to manipulate the system to both help myself and someone else. So he gets a paycheck, the taxpayers are paying for it, but they're also not paying for him to be in jail. And they're not paying for him to go through rehab. And they're not paying for him to be on all kinds of programs himself. He now has a purpose. He now has something that he loves. He has something that drives him forward every day of the week. That's a libertarian legacy. It's a state, it sounds backwards, doesn't it? Right? I'm using a state-funded welfare program as a libertarian to help somebody I know. That just sounds wrong until you really look at the whole situation. So no matter what walk of life you're in, there's a way that you can do something like this. If you're a business owner, you can get to know the people who are in need around you and potentially give somebody a similar job. We see this happening. It's happening in Oneonta. I believe before COVID 2020, there was a program set to get addicts employed, and it was working. I don't know where it stands now, but I'm about to find out. Now, again, a libertarian legacy should leave us and leave the people you interact with thinking libertarian is good. That's it. That's it. You know, don't lead with those bad messages. I mean, we hear that all the time, right? But we have so many of us that do. And, you know, taxation is theft. And welfare is theft. And war is illegal in this country currently. For the most part, what we do is illegal. Does that mean that we should just burn it all down? No. That means that we need to represent, we need to do the work, we need to be candidates, support candidates, be affiliates, and support affiliates, but at the same time, do good things and let everyone know you're a libertarian. Every time you do something good, just tell them you're a libertarian. That's it. Leave a good legacy. Did that solve your... I know Pat Ford was just lecturing us about rambling, and here I am. Any more questions before I hang it up?
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.